Hello everyone! Today we're going to hopefully finish 6.1 MSQ. Looking forward to see what the heck happens with that guy in the World of Darkness. Because we've been wondering about the 13th for forever. And now we're gonna get a little bit more information on it. Now before we do that, we gotta help Varshahn / Vrtra to distribute out the wealth from that dungeon. And let's see how that goes. It's not dilly-dally. Get started and talk to Varshahn here. Yeah, did we talk to Estinian last time? Let's check. I hope you enjoyed the expedition, at least. Otherwise, it was a heavy purse to pay for the treasure map leading to a treasure we couldn't keep. Alright, I think we talked to him last time. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk to Varshahn and get started. Sharing the wealth. Varshahn wishes to discuss the distribution of the treasure. Shall we begin? If we are to spend the treasure wisely, then we must first determine which group would benefit most from the monetary assistance. Some of my citizens may find it intimidating to speak with the satrap directly, so I would ask that you act in my stead. Brilliant. You are to visit Akayali and Yedlamhad. Speak with Matsya and his people and listen to their grievances. Estinian, I bid you do the same at Palakstand. I will be conducting my own inquiries in Giant Skull grounds. I don't know how Estinian's going to fare doing this, but okay. Once you believe you have ascertained the needs of the populace, we can reconvene at Megaduta. Alright, we gotta head over to Matsya's place and Yedlamad. Let's head on out. Okay, let's see. Well, not north, but either way, it doesn't look like I need to actually go in Yedlamad. I need to go over to the Akayali. I find it kind of interesting how we ended up doing the void quests, and I hadn't even intended for that to tie into 6.1 MSQ. Then again, I don't think they thought so either. Unless, of course, some of the events, because I know something happens at 6.5. But, obviously we're not there yet. We'll get there when we get there. Anyway, let's talk to Matsya. Oh, brilliant. I was so glad to see you had returned unharmed. You finished with the boat then? Yes, I am done, Matsya. Anything the village desperately needs? Well, I suppose Kazal loss hit us the hardest. I've been trying to find buyers for my fish, but although I sell a few here and there, it's so much more difficult than it was before. Everyone's still struggling to rebuild their lives, for now. We're just banding together as best we can. It sounds like they're struggling, but they're not, like, in dire straits. Anyway, let's see in Yedlamad. Let's see who the people that we're going to talk to here. Let's see, this is probably one of the merchants. Yeah, the Junkmonger. Greetings and welcome, traveler. Is this your first visit to Thavnair? Then you must try my special armor lassie. Its refreshing zest cannot be beat. What could such wonder cost, you wonder? Normally I put with 3 bottles for a generous price of 19,800 gil. But for you, I was willing to go as low as even 10,000. You'd be practically stealing from me. It sounds like the prices haven't gotten any better. Stealing at that price, you're the only thief around here. Still not turning a profit these days? I am not Estinian. Times are harsh, my friend. The world may no longer be on fire, but we are still sifting through the ashes, so to speak. Just spare me. We might as well have that ugly tower back for scant few travelers we see these days. I myself barely have the coin to buy at local prices, I tell you. If I didn't charge the odd adventurer a small fortune for afternoon tea, I'd be scavenging for scraps in the street. You sound like you're in a little bit worse position than Matsya's people. Let's see what this guy's got to say. How fares the port? Well, it's in shambles, isn't it? The trade routes are open once more now that the danger has passed, certainly. But no small number of merchants have had to sell their ships to make ends meet in the short term. Add to that the sailors we lost in the final days, and it's little wonder the flow of exports is no more than a pitiful trickle. If Khazal and his consortium were still with us, I'm sure he'd have found a way to turn our fortunes around. Now that was a man who had got things done. God's rest his soul. You have spoken with key local figures and gained understanding of the populace's hardships. Varshahn awaits you to report in Magna Duta. Okay. That's back in Azadaal, right? Yes. Let's teleport back over there. Alright, Varshahn, I figured out the merchants are probably hurting and causing a bit of a problem. Astinian, what did you figure out? It would seem my stint on Vrtra's back did not go unnoticed. I couldn't take 2 steps before another Hanish local was thanking me profusely for saving their home. Astinian, he's not used to being the hero. Ah, my advisor's return. I've just made it back myself. Why do you retain this vessel now that your true form is known? You could have flown across the island in a fraction of the time. Istinian, it's a lot easier for them to... It's a lot easier for Vrtra to be asked questions as a human, well, as a humanoid, than as a dragon. And dragons are slightly intimidating. I'm not sure you noticed since you're so used to talking to them and, you know, riding them. Be that as it may, the sight of a massive creature descending from the sky can be startling to say the least. And there are few places I can enter comfortably without risk of flattening some cart or stall. That's true. I actually have thought of that before. That, like, even if people are used to the dragon can't exactly go into like, buildings or anything, all without, like, a special entrance. Fair enough. As for my inquiries, the people of Palixstand were unanimous in their reply. They are surviving. Resources were stretched to the limit when refugees were pouring in, but they persevered with some assistance from Yedlamad. From what I understand, they have always been an independent community, hunters and foragers and the like, and I was assured that the jungle provides for their needs for the most part. Palixstand has weathered the disaster better than most, it seems. I myself heard good news and bad. The quarrymen were cautiously optimistic, having just sold the full wagon of giant skull to a foreign trader. But such visitors are few and far between. Compared to our best years, the weight of the stone leaving Thavnair has been light indeed. Our nation is small and isolated, its prosperity dependent on a steady stream of exports. We must identify any obstacles to the flow of trade so we may begin working to remove them. Tell me, what did you learn in archaeology and Yedlamad? Well, I mean, they're working, but they're having the same issues. I see. Without a dedicated buyer, the average fisherman must struggle to offload his daily catch. Which is why I believe we should first address the lack of ships and shortage of able-bodied sailors in Yedlamad. That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm reminded of a child I spied as I made my way back to the palace. His father lost at sea when the beast sunk their vessel. So many variations of the same tragic tale, repeated over and over. So many lives lost. Yep. Same kind of story. Enough grief to drown in if we let ourselves be overcome, but we will not. Brilliant, Istinian. I will consider the perspectives you brought me and devise a plan to help my people confront this adversity. Come, I would like you to be in attendance when I announce the proposal to my assembled functionaries.
I thank you for your attendance. The riches the Radiant Host have retrieved were hoarded in Azadaal's name. A fortune I set aside for a future day of need. And lo, that day hath come. May it aid our wounded city in reclaiming its vibrancy and vigor.
You know, a slush fund.
In better times, I would leave such a task to our capable Ahawan. God's rest his soul. Finding myself bereft of his counsel in the here and now, I will assume the responsibilities of mine office directly. Firstly, the treasure shall be sold for more convenient currency. Thence, invested into the trading port of Yedlamad. Our merchants must have their operations restored, their ships rebuilt. Commerce must flow once more. None were spared the tragedy of the final days. Of this, I am well aware. But an absence was created by the loss of Karazal's consortium. And by filling it, we provide new means for our fishermen, our artisans, and others to bring their wares to distant markets.
Okay, but what about the common people?
And what of the children who were left without family to care for them?
That is a concern which weigheth heavily upon my mind. A simple gift of coin will soon be exhausted, leaving these young souls adrift on the fringes of our society. Nay, a proper solution is needed, one which doth guarantee their welfare for years to come. Thou hast surely seen how other nations rise to meet this challenge, adventurer. What dost thou deem the wisest course?
Clearly we should take the old Dawn approach. Let him starve. Nah, we're gonna go with Ishgard. It takes a village. Taxes. Levy them on trade profits in exchange for your investment. That's not a bad idea? I'll take a village. I don't remember what that's a reference to. And then Idleshire's orphanages is Lowy. Highly coveted goods. Let's just go with the taxes. Although that's still not.
I see. We create a reliable source of revenue. Let us put this idea into practice. A contract shall be written, requiring all who receive of Azadaal's treasure to commit a portion of their future earnings towards the running of an
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you choose.
Now, such an influential policy is deserving of a worthy name.
How about the Beryllian contract? Don't make me choose. Something with Azadaal seems appropriate. Why not honor one of your most successful merchants? Nah, let's just go with Azadaal. It is technically his fortune.
A fitting candidate. Azadaal should be remembered, not as the blasphemy which terrorized.
Oh, right, wrong person.
But as a hard-working and generous man who brought much wealth to our shores. Do any among you object to this proposition? Many here lost loved ones to the beasts.
In that time of strife, any one of us could have broken. Any one of us may have been taken by despair. When I think of Azadaal, I feel no hatred. Only a stinging regret that we could not save him as well. Isn't that right, men?
This bodes well for that boy. Mirad, was it? Perhaps he can cut ties with that shady peddler.
Then let it be done. Henceforth, this initiative shall be known as the Azadaal Foundation. Nabdeen, thou art to assemble a patrol and ensure that no child in this city liveth in squalor.
I still think we should have taken the old Dawn approach.
Clerks, see to the management of our funds and make haste. Our citizens must not suffer a day more than is necessary.
Dragon and man, side by side in pursuit of a brighter morrow. I'm reminded of Ishgard.
Yeah. Let's see. Useless food I'll never use. Let's see, that's healing. I don't want any of these. Just do Gil. Why did I get 1,001 Gil? Anyway, Sogdwestinian and then Veteran Radiant. Vrtra is warming to his role as satrap. Clearly, all those years behind the curtain were not meant to spent napping. Bridging the rift. The Veteran Radiant wishes to share his gratitude. Oh, don't skip it. Thank you for putting forth Azadaal's name. Those whose lives he enriched will take comfort in seeing his legacy honored. You will forgive me for not speaking sooner, but I bear a message from Archon Y'shtola. She asks that you meet her in the High Crucible at your earliest convenience. Did she find something out? Understood. Thank you. Y'shtola must have finished her study of the Void Gate. Shall we hear what she has to say then? I will go with you. I thought the satrap would be too busy setting up the foundation. My clerks have been the well-oiled cogs of this administration since before Awan assumed the office. They understand what needs to be done. And I am curious to learn what conclusions your Archon has reached concerning the gate's unique construction. As you wish. Allow me to lead the way, Your Excellency. Oh, let's head on over there. Let's see, find out what Y'shtola figured out. Maybe we can shove Alphinaud through after all. Actually, I think Alizé would be more willing. I mean, I'm sure Varshahn will fit. He's smaller than both of them. For one who claims it is too late to save his sister, Vrtra seems awfully interested in whatever revelations Y'shtola might have to share. Shall we hear what your scholarly comrade has to say? He does seem quite excited.
Right, here we all are.
Man, they're voicing like all of these cutscenes.
You discovered something new.
I took a closer look at that device. I was able to determine how it keeps the Void Gate sealed, but not how it might instead be employed to expand the opening. For that, I would need to reference the technique developed by Vrtra's alchemists, no records of which appear to have survived the intervening years.
Well, that's annoying.
We know this, so why have you sent for us? Have you learned aught of value or not?
Jesus, Dinian.
Patience, good sir. One must introduce the subject before launching into specifics. From what we understand, travel between worlds is accomplished by passing through the nebulous rift which exists between them. Picture, if you will, the moment you were called to the first.
Let's see, so... You mean when I was flying through the universe and seeing stuff?
You touched a focus of some kind to help the Exarch pinpoint your location. His summoning spell then channeled the energies of the Crystal Tower to begin your journey to his world. The magics tore a hole in the wall separating source and shard, and cast you into the intervening nothingness. In that place, the laws of nature hold no sway. Yet even through this realm of temporal and spatial instability, you were borne safely to your destination in the first.
True.
The feat that guided you across such an unimaginable distance, both physical and metaphorical, was nothing short of a miracle.
Then what of the many voids sent found in the source? Who guides them here, and how?
That's an interesting question.
An excellent question. Though there are several methods by which the Void's denizens might intrude upon our world, the rituals of summoning are the most typical. For example, let us consider the Gargoyle, a creature of middling power. To call upon such an entity, the prospective summoner must force open a void gate. The portal lasts but a moment and is relatively small, allowing only an imp or other lesser being to squeeze through with their physical body intact. Our more powerful gargoyle, however, is too large for that. Creating a gate big enough for him would require vast amounts of energy, far beyond the reserves of any one mortal practitioner. Instead, 'tis far more common to bring over only the entity's soul. We had a taste of that ourselves when a certain exarch dragged us to the first.
Yep. We've seen that multiple times, even outside of Shadowbringers.
And just as our bodies remained in our world, the Void Sense physical form is left behind in the 13th. Once at its destination, the summoned soul is granted a temporary shell to inhabit. In the gargoyle's case, a stone effigy has proven a suitable vessel.
Wait. You said that Voidsent must be called here deliberately by someone in the source, reeled in like a fisherman with his catch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. For a being to navigate the chaos of the rift, with or without form, there must needs be a guiding agent on the other side.
When the hordes poured forth from Alag's Great Gate, it was the technologists who drew them through. Though to my knowledge, planar fissures are in essence natural passages between our world and the void, which require no such guidance to traverse. Why is only the boundary between the source and the 13th so fragile? So much so that it often tears open of its own accord.
That's a good question, too.
I believe solving that mystery is key to understanding travel between the source and its reflections.
And how do you intend to get your answers?
No. The danger is too great.
He wants to go through it.
Perhaps. But what some call danger, others think of as adventure.
Well done, Ishtola. Can you tell me the plan before you volunteer me?
Were you not listening to my tale? Never mind that the means to expand the gate has been lost to the ages. Even could you force the portal wide enough, you would be greeted by an army of murderous horrors the very instant you step through.
Well, I mean, how is that any different than what I faced before?
I assure you I was most attentive. And I agree that to go alone would be certain death. But if I were to bring along one who has already braved the 13th, and humbled the cloud of darkness, well, I imagine my chances would be much improved.
Ishtola, I think you're still moving a little bit fast. Count me in. So much for taking it easy. That's way better.
Since when were you one for the quiet life?
Oh, well, I kind of like a bit of my crafting.
Once again, I put my life in your ever-reliable hands. That said, as much as I would like to march straight back to the Void Gate, there is the small matter of being unable to open it without the Satrap's personal
Jesus.
authority.
Ishtola, please.
As I've said before, I will grant you and yours any boon you choose to name, provided it does not endanger my people.
You have my word that we will take every precaution. Not a single Voidsent will be allowed to threaten Azadaal, assuming we manage to expand the portal in the first place.
You have a plan.
I would hope so.
Actually, I had hoped you might help us with that. I presume the alchemists you retained supplied you with some explanation of their methodology.
That they did. House Daymir was overseeing the project.
Daemir. Ah, yes. The family associated with the Great Work.
The Great Walk. They make some pretty good Chinese food.
I did not fully comprehend the theory, but their research began with a void scent which had slipped through the fissure. After a thorough examination, they created an arcane simulacrum possessed of similar qualities. A man-made void scent, if you will. It was apparently indispensable in their efforts to enlarge the gate.
That's interesting.
A man-made void scent.
Yes. Being great admirers of the Archons, House Daemir submitted detailed notes to Charlene's official committee. They expected praise and accolades for their simulacrum, and were thus devastated to be informed that their work had been classified as prohibited material.
If that's true, then those notes might still be stored in a forbidden archive somewhere. Not Google, of course, since that library had yet to be built. Which leaves us with...
Charlene. With the restricted section of the Numenon, it's Grawha's favorite place to sneak around with... what? Yeah, it's Grawha's place to sneak around and get caught.
Indeed. Numenon's restricted stacks may very well hold a copy. In which case, I say we head directly to Charlene.
Unless you anticipate needing help to reach the high shelves, I see myself being of little use. Go on ahead. I still need to find Mirad and tell him about the Kalzal Foundation.
Good guy Stinian, always looking out for the kids.
Let us be on our way as well.
I feel like Ishtola is jumping into this a little too quickly.
They are resolved to venture into the void. Do I sit idly by?
Well, I mean, going by what the plot's probably going to be, probably not. It's getting interesting. ... Oh, I guess we gotta head back to old Charlene. Check out the forbidden section of the Numenon. Yeah, let's just teleport over there. Alright, oh, never mind. She's right over here. I was gonna head over to the Numenon. If you were to enter the Numenon's restricted archives with minimum fuss, then we must secure permission of the Forum, of course, because this is going to be very easy. First, however, we shall need to enlist the cooperation of a member to broach the matter on our behalf. Who do you think might be inclined to assist us? What about the scholar? The teacher guy? No one springs to mind. What about Scarlet Montagagny? Did come to Grawha's defense during the inquiry, after all. Just settled. Let us head to the phenomenon and see if he's willing to help us once more. Your Stola's not company, keep her at your side, proceed with the quest objective, leave your Stola, yeah. Okay, let's see. Are there any spots to talk just only right there? Okay, we'll teleport over then. Yeah, now the question is, are we going to be able to find the guy? Because like it was a bit difficult for us to find him before. I apprenticed to Master Matoya at the age of 7 and labor under her tutelage for a full decade. I never had the chance to attend the studium. Neither did Thancred, as I recall. Soon after Master Louis Swall took him in off the streets, he was put in the care of another Archon. His was a righteous and practical education in the arts of espionage and survival. I sometimes wonder what my life might have been like had I pursued studies here instead. Tea at the last stand after a day of lectures. Should I wonder as well? I don't... No. Oh, it does sound lovely. Afternoons with friends spent sipping tea and debating theories. Still, I wouldn't give up my time with Master Matoya for the world. The dank cave I studied in was about as far from the bright, airy halls of the academia as one could get, but it was a wondrous, magical childhood nonetheless. That sounds about like Y'shtola. Alright, where is this guy gonna be? In the back corner? Okay, let's head back there. Let's see, this opens? Ah, okay. Another one of the classrooms. Ah, visitors, and quite esteemed ones at that. What may I do for you? Pray forgive the intrusion, Scholark, but we were hoping you might help us secure permission to enter Numenon's restricted archives. Oh, no furtive forays into the stacks of time, eh? Into the stacks this time, eh? I applaud this newfound sense of propriety, yet in all this wide world of comparative serenity, what so compels you to disturb the vault of forbidden wisdom? We want to go to the 13th. Fascinating. I had no idea such a technique existed. I would have been surprised if you had. If my assumption is correct, the research left behind by House Thavnair has lain dormant in Charlene's archives for many centuries. And if you unearth this research, what then? Surely you don't intend to cross over into the void. No. We'd never do something that foolish. That is, in fact, precisely what we intend. To what end, pray tell? To develop a method of traversing the rift, for one, that I might keep my word to a distant friend. Sentiment aside, I've journeyed to the end of existence. I've heard, felt, and thought endlessly about the truth of our world and the echo of its future. And yet, I want to understand everything, to unravel it all down to its very last secret. What scholarly worth of the name wouldn't force open a void gate or two if a grand revelation was the promised reward? Y'shtola, no, I don't think so. Ha 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 ha, marvelous. An audacious proposal worthy of Master Matoya herself. And after hearing the whys and the wherefores, I, for one, do not believe you would use the knowledge for ill. I see no reason not to represent your requests for the forum's consideration. That went better than I expected. Although, your petition would be better received if you also had the support of another well-placed acquaintance. Who would that be? Why, Master Varshahn, of course. I don't know how we're gonna win him over. He can hardly ignore an earnest request from his dear children's most treasured comrades. Okay. I was hesitant to approach him directly, but there is no denying that having Master Varshahn on our side would tip the balance in our favor. Very well. We will pay him a visit to the Livier estate and plead our case. I don't see him agreeing to this. Ah, one last thing before you go. I would consider it a personal favor if you might share with me the discoveries you make in the void. My appetite for knowledge is every bit as insatiable as yours, I'd wager. So if you could see your way to indulging an old man's curiosity? Okay, that's why he agreed. Of course, Scholark. We will be sure to pass on any revelations. forum can be... What? How do you say this? Cantacaris. Sure. The forum can be a cantacaris beast. One needs a persuasive voice to get it moving in the desired direction. Sure. Anyway, let's head over to the Levier estate and see if we can convince Fortunal to help us out. Maybe we should go to Amelian's first. I think she'd have a much better chance. Again, I still don't see how we're going to get Vince Fortunal to do this. Oh, okay, kind sir. Have you seen Master around? Ah, Mistress Brilliant, Mistress Y'shtola. How may I be of service? We've come to speak with Master Fortunald. Is he home by any chance? Yes, the Master is in residence. I shall inform him that he has guests. Well, well, Amelians would invite you inside for tea, but I assume this is not a social visit. You have some matter of import to discuss? Yes, Daddy. Then pray proceed. You have my full attention. We want to go to the 13th. We actually thought about shoving Alphinaud in through the Void Gate first, but we decided that probably wouldn't be a good idea. Well, I suppose I should praise you for following the proper protocols this time around. Scholaric Montashagany expressed much the same sentiment. I assure you, we will not attempt to circumvent the forum's authority again, unless of course it is absolutely necessary, of course. Of course. You do understand that the restricted archives are restricted for good reason, yes? If no pressing need exists, then why risk the consequences of employing this forbidden knowledge for fun? For a brother who misses his sister, she was his guardian and his friend, a selfless hero who crossed the rift between worlds to save her homeland from horror and suffering. But the brother has given up on thoughts of reunion. He spends his efforts elsewhere, watching over a people yet healing from the flames of the final days, loyal to his duty while betraying the longing in his heart. How poignant. 'Tis no vital mission, perhaps, reuniting these siblings, but it feels a worthy cause to pursue all the same. As one who feared losing his own loved ones and spent years in research to prevent it, surely you appreciate how painful such a separation must be. Appealing to him like that. Reflections are still very much a mystery to us. Offering to share your experiences in the first should constitute a fair exchange for our cooperation. Oh, that sounds like a good deal for us. Do not celebrate it just yet. The forum must still be convinced. I will add your request to the list of today's deliberations and deliver the decision to you at the Baldizian Annex. Alright, that went over better than I expected. In that case, let's head on over to the Annex and wait on Daddy Fortunal to bring us the news. Let's see, now why is it in an AoE circle? Oh, okay. So, what did the forum decide? To put it bluntly, Master Matoya has burned some bridges here in Charlian, well that's an understatement, and salted the earth for good measure. But it became clear that her student... Oops. When it became clear that her student was the petitioner in question, well, no few members voiced their discontent. Then the chamber was reminded, in no uncertain terms I might add, of the incredible debt we owe you and your companions. That served to silence the grumbles and stiffen a few spines, and it was agreed that allowing you entry into the archives was the least we can do in return. That is wonderful news. Thank you both of you for speaking on our behalf. Yes, well, as I am sure you are aware, this permission was not extended lightly. Forbidden knowledge is to be treated with the utmost caution, and there will be repercussions if it is not. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about repercussions if the world is dead. I wish you well in your endeavor, and bid you good day. Ever the same, that one. Uncompromising, aye, but that very stoicism is exactly what Charlie needed to guide it through not one, but 2 exoduses. True. It's still a bit of a pain to deal with. If I were but 5 years younger, I'd cast aside my lectern and join you on your adventures in a heartbeat. I think you need more than 5 years. That went rather well, I think. As a child, I dreamed up on any number of schemes for getting my hands. Of course she did. As a child, I dreamed up any number of schemes for getting my hands on those forbidden tomes, and now I can simply walk through the door. Our focus will be finding House Damir's research notes, of course. But the thought of so much knowledge at my disposal has me feeling a bit little giddy. Like a little kitty?